Welcome to Talking Business and Life with Claudio Relsano and Steve Mancini. Claudio and Steve will share their business and life experience to help you grow your business and improve your life. Here's Claudio and Steve.
Good evening and welcome to Talking Business and Life with Steve Mancini and Claudio Relsano. As you can see, going to the video and audio, Claudio. I'm staring at Claudio. I'm looking at the thing, and I'm looking at the monitor. I'm looking at the screen.
You're wearing many hats.
And I even got to wear the headphones today, so it's just going to be a crazy day. Claudio, it's snowing in Pittsburgh, apparently.
It snowed and it's cold, but we went to an event prior to the snow and
we
the
just
cold
beat it
on Friday.
That's right.
Yeah, we were at the Ray Boom Boom Mancini Foundation event. It's the second annual. They had a lot of great boxers there this year. They had Jerry Cooney, Larry Holmes, Bronco McCart, Paulie Malignaggi, Mickey Ward, Michael Spinks, Kelly Pavlik. That's a great group of boxers, champions, all of them.
Yeah, I had a great time. And you know what?
Buster Douglas.
They sat at my table. I mean, I tell you
Yeah.
what. First of all, I got a great picture that I'm actually going to get that frame. It's just a nice picture. I really liked it. Really nice guy.
Nice
I mean,
man.
I think that was the thing, is that they were all approachable.
Yeah.
They were friendly. We'll sign. What do you want to sign? I mean, they're just nice guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I just had a great time. Obviously, good food. I mean, I would expect nothing.
Food was good.
I mean,
But,
in an Italian event, there better be good food.
Yeah, it was good. But I met him a few times, but I wanted to remind him how important he was to me, because his fight with Mike Tyson 36 years ago in February, his mom had passed. That was the story. And I knew who Buster Douglas was, but I didn't know about his mom passing. And my mom had recently passed. So that got me. And then he won the fight, and that really got me. And it just, that's one of my most memorable fights ever. And that night, I don't know if anybody could have beaten Buster Douglas. Anybody in the history of boxing.
You see, that's interesting.
Except for Rocky Marciano.
Well, I was just saying, that's right. Always the Italian. I didn't realize that, because there are a lot of people going, man, that fight was a little bit, Mike Tyson looked invincible.
No. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. I'm a boxing historian. I know what the hell I'm talking about. It wasn't lucky. If it was a one-punch clip, he lucked out. He beat him. One round he lost, and that's the round he got knocked down, but he got back up. If they start talking about the long count, it wasn't a long count. The referee, as soon as the guy, Buster, fell, he started counting. Buster could have got up at 5, but he waited. It was smart that he did that. But I've never seen a more dominant fight in my life. Then they'll say, well, Tyson didn't train. Well, first of all, it would have been his fault, but he was in great shape. His weight was down. He didn't have the corner. Didn't matter. Buster Douglas that night was determined. He was motivated. He was inspired. Fought almost a perfect fight.
Now, Claude, I was going to say, I'm working the buttons here, and I gave us a sneak peek. I'm going to do it again. Ready? Watch. There she is. Okay. Well, we're going to get into that. But a great time. I appreciated everyone being there, and I really enjoyed it. I'm actually looking forward to next year.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, it'll be good.
All right, Claudia, as I have not stopped turning my camera on you, I better get back to me. We're going to talk about our guest. Yeah. She was a guest a few years back, but we've got some updates, and now that we're in the studio, we have different things to talk about, so I'm very excited.
She is a true friend of mine. She's helped me with my book. And nobody can say anything bad about her. She's just a wonderful person, very intelligent person. Everything she does, not to promote my book, but she does it from the heart up. She really does. Jodi Velazquez, and I should say it right because her husband will beat me up if I say it wrong. But she is the author of a new book, which she will discuss and show some props. It's about sugar diabetes and eating healthy. And Jodi, welcome to the show, and I appreciate you taking the time to be on.
Thank you both very much for having me. It's always a pleasure to come here and be with you guys.
Thank you. Thanks
and
for being
Claudio,
on.
You are so knowledgeable about boxing.
Well,
listening to
especially
you.
Again when I'm with Luther and Jim, I'm much better than they are, and better looking. All right, Jodi. First of all, tell us about your book and what inspired you to write the book.
Okay, so I raised.
You can show the book too.
Oh, okay, yeah. I raised a small child that was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 19 months old. So 19 months old is very young to be diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. She could not even talk to me to tell me how she was feeling. So I had to check her like 8 to 10 times a day. Actually, my husband shared that with me. And we just learned such a tremendous amount about food. And one of the things that was shocking was I guess when you get diabetes, you have to have checks every 3 months, your A1C. And if having a baby with type 1 diabetes wasn't enough, you have markers that your doctor sets for you, and you have to be in a certain range. So I learned over a span of 16 years that the only way to keep her in that range was to feed her and keep her in a lifestyle that mimicked mine of the 1970s and the 1980s. So a good way to explain my book is that when technology changed, we went from typewriters to the internet overnight, I think. And a lot of people were so shocked. And our food actually has changed just as drastically, only it happened over a slow, long period of time. So it went unnoticed for a lot of people. But having to take care of a child with diabetes, I was able to see the changes. And I knew that if I fed her like today's world, it wasn't working for me. I wasn't meeting those ranges and goals that the doctor set for me. So the book pretty much compares how to eat like it's 1970, 1980 to today's way of eating. And there's so many big differences. I know you're into food, Steve, and you know.
I do like eating.
The thing about her, though, and the book, Steve, is, okay, you just didn't give her medicine and that's it. You just didn't check her markers and that's it. How can we regulate things? How can we lower things? How can we make her better? You really got your hands in the soil and start researching, as you said, 70s and 80s.
Right.
Most people just say, okay, take this medicine and that's it. You went deeper than that.
Well,
Why?
you have to when it's your child and she can't really take care of herself. So it kind of, you have to do it. And I'm an Italian mom. I want to do a good job. I had that baby. I have to take care of her. And I wanted to do a good job. I wanted to give her, as much good health as I could before she was 18 and on her own. And, I wanted to, I accepted the challenge from the doctor and said, okay, I can do this. But it took a lot of research, a lot of checks, a lot of analyzing, a lot of reading online. And, we finally figured it out, but it's a lot of changes, and you really have to make those changes in your life. And they're small and simple. We just don't realize how much our food has changed.
Let me chime in on that, because there's a show called The Food That Built America. And they talk about the guys that actually set up, the Posts and the Nabiscos and all these companies that we just sort of assume, these companies didn't start as, mega companies, mega corporations. They were small. They get something, it works. They make more of it, it works. Then they start, consolidating. You mentioned the food since the 70s. What has, in your research, what was the biggest change? Because it seems like the idea that food was being developed in the laboratories once they realized you could make money off of it. It wasn't just about survival. It was about, we can make money off food. What was the biggest change that you've seen in the food? Because food has changed, and I completely agree with that. But what is some of the biggest changes you've seen?
Definitely the highly processed foods with a paragraph of ingredients. And it was funny when I was doing my book. It talks a lot about.
You can hold it up, Jodi. It's okay. No, there's no shameless self plugs here.
Medical situation here. So I got nervous towards the end, and somebody was like, "You can't say things if you're not sure." And I said, "You know what? You're right." And I hired medical journal editors out of Kansas City to totally go through this book and make sure that what I was saying was on mark. And I had a chapter about the food additives, like, I just said the highly processed food and all the additives that are in 10,000 additives since, the 80s that are now on the market and in the foods. And they went through, and I had some research studies that said that a lot of those chemicals will make you gain weight. I am not a biology major or chemist, but I think it's that I'm not really sure how to say it. It's metabolic disruptors.
Okay.
And I don't deep dive too far into that, but they did. And they found some really good sites, and they were actually government sites, medpub.gov. And they said, this is where you need your link from, and this is this research study that you need to cite. But they disrupt and they can make you gain weight. And there's so many highly processed foods, and it's not just it's not just a problem with fast food. It's the warehouse clubs, the grocery stores, the vending machines, everything. And people just are trusting, and they don't realize that those kind of chemicals can do that, and they are in the foods.
Well, and they're also meant to be addictive. That's the problem. First of all, people have become intellectually lazy. People are just sheep beyond sheep now. And you jam this stuff on the shelves, and, just like we had the Snowmageddon here. Mm-hmm. And what do people do? They all ran out and they bought a bunch of stuff, right? Stuff that they probably don't even need. And it's going to sit on the shelves, and they're going to gobble it down because it's designed to sit on the shelves for weeks and months, if not longer at a time. And to your point on the metabolic disruptors, I totally understand what that means, because it's not a natural chemical that your body says, I don't know what to do with this. Mm-hmm. And then therein is the problem. At the same time, they're getting you addicted to it.
Right. Yeah.
Jodi, a guy that we've had on our show, Chris Corciani, said something in his business, what sets you apart from someone else? There's a lot of books out there about your topic. What sets your book apart from somebody else's book?
I think the fact that it's on-hand experience. They say that some of the best teachers out there are the ones that lived it. And that really, for me, was how I learned. And it's very eye-opening. And it's not just that I wrote a book about it. I did it daily, 24/7 for 16 years. So I kept running into things and kept noticing things, and this changed and that changed. And, you asked me what the biggest change was. I said one of them was the highly processed food. But my book mentions how many changes happened over a very long period of time, and it's the increase of fast food restaurants. In 1968 there was only 1,000 McDonald's, and if you spread that across the country, you may not have had a McDonald's near you. People are like, oh my God, what would you do? I think Starbucks in 1982, I might be wrong, had five locations. And I tell this story a lot. This is one of the biggest things in my book is when my daughter was sleeping at night and we would go check her. She was so little. If she was low, we would give her orange juice. And there were times we ran out of orange juice. So we used the syrups, Hershey's and strawberry, and put it in milk. And that would raise her even quicker than the orange juice. These are the same syrups that are in your liquors, that are in your coffees, that you see people at the coffee shops saying, put 3 extra pumps in. Yeah. And I'm like, no, don't do that.
Jeez, my daughter bought me a bunch of those for Christmas. They're good, though.
I'm not going to lie. I've reduced it down. Well, there was a time when I used to do the flavored creamer and sugar, and I realized, wait a minute, I don't need sugar in here. So now I just do the flavored creamer.
I don't put sugar in mine. I just do the pumps.
Well, I'm finally just doing the pump or sugar, and then I try, but I'm also leaving an active life. And I will ask you this, because you're doing your homework, and Claudia asked a good question, because there's a lot of research on this. Mm-hmm. Do you find that there are contradictions in the research?
Contradictions in what research do you mean exactly?
Well, I mean, when you're saying, okay, what do I have to do? You've changed the diet of your daughter to correspond to the negative effects of what's out there right now in the food. If you look at the shelf, and I mean, everything has sugar. They even add sugar to sugar. I mean, sugar is everywhere. Sugar and some kind of oats, glucose, sucrose, monomer, whatever it is. So they're adding all this stuff to everything. The government has been approving, to your point, the 10,000 additives over just a few decades. So when you're doing research to say, what should I be giving my kid? What should you be eating to either avoid this or treat it? Did you ever run into, well, this one says do this, and this one says don't do that, do this? Did you ever run into that kind of issue?
I think that the biggest thing for me that was to my advantage that helped me be able to justify writing this book and everything was when you do 8 to 10 finger checks a day, you don't need to go online and research anything. You don't need to hear anything from anybody. The proof is right there. When you eat something like a bag of flavored tortilla chips and the numbers just skyrocket, it's like, okay. I don't need to be told twice that you shot up to like 450. Now I got to fix that, So there's where my justification came in. And they say a lot of things out there. And now the biggest thing now is organic stuff. You can't even trust that. You can't trust the labels of organic stuff, and that's hard. So for me, it was on-hand experience, and I just went with what I was learning, and I really didn't pay attention to anything else that was going on. It was all what was happening in our world and what I saw. And there's a lot of things, and most of them are mentioned in the book, but like exercise and getting active and moving was all part of that too. Like if you're just sitting around and doing nothing,
right?
That was another thing that I saw, big red flags.
Yeah, who'd have thought diet and exercise? Huh. The irony is it seems intuitive, but people would say, "Nah, you know what? I'd rather have a shot."
Yeah. Oh yeah,
the weight loss shots. Like I'd rather just take the shot.
I can't believe.
Or they have that surgery for the stomach and all that.
Oh, yeah, the surgeries, too. I can't believe that, when you go to those warehouse clubs, you see all the drivers. You can tell what the drivers look like. They stick out like the guys on the airplanes that are, what am I thinking, the security guys. Right, yeah. They stick out. You can tell they have their cart and they're picking up a bunch of food and they're going to deliver it to houses. And then on the side of the warehouse clubs, they have the parking spaces where you can pull in and they'll come out and put your food in there. I was like, doesn't anybody want to walk anymore? And then they have the motorized carts that they drive around, even if they do go in. That's right. I'm like, you're not getting any exercise.
None. Now, I know you have some props, which we're going to bring in after our commercial, but like with me when it comes to hitting, I teach hitting. And there's some people who may not agree with the things I teach. Meanwhile, they're very wrong, and I can prove them wrong. I mean, major league coach, I can prove them wrong in a quarter of a second. Are there people who will read your book and say, well, Jodi, this isn't right? And I guarantee you that you'll be able to prove them wrong. But have you ever had that? Have you ever had to tell a doctor, hey, no, this is the way it is? Because, like you said, you didn't just study this, you've lived it.
Well, you know what? It was funny because my daughter saw a pediatrician, and when she was almost turning 18, and we knew that we were going to stop. But the doctor said to me, after so many years of like beating me up and saying, well, A1C is 7.2, it should be 6.9. It was always a negative experience going in there because you're always she was trying to make us better and better. But after 16 years, the doctor said to me, I never saw you in the ER.
Maybe Jodi's right.
You never really had an A1C over 8. And I said, yeah, wow. And then I was like, oh my God.
I got to ask one more thing before we get a break. Being Italian, we have some crazy, Steve as well. Our families have some crazy, not recipes, but theories or whatever you want to call it to get things done, right? I'm not wording it right. Did you use anything that you learned from the past? You know what I'm trying to say? I know I didn't word that right or ask it right. Was there anything unconventional that you used that you learned from your parents or grandparents?
Well, I think I do have a YouTube channel where I teach the authenticity of my mother's cooking. I teach people how to make homemade ravioli and manicotti. I think that cooking homemade, you avoid a lot of the additives. So that was definitely something that I cooked. I spent so many hours in the kitchen. It was incredible. And I still do. I cook a lot at home to avoid the chemicals and stuff like that.
My mom she used to make jelly, Steve and Jodi, never used sugar. Man, it tasted sweeter than hell. I don't know what she did.
The fruit.
But anyway. Okay, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with our wonderful guest, Jodi Velazquez.
Ciao, Chrissy. Your Italian got so much better. Brava.
Grazie. It's because I learned the best way possible.
How so?
Well, I learned that with apps, grammar books, and even YouTube videos, I could only get so far. I had to immerse myself. I noticed I did best when I was in Italy visiting family. That's where my level really soared.
And wow, did it work?
Thanks. I became much more confident, fast. That's why I created Footsteps Through Time. It's an Italian language experience. You don't just take Italian classes, you immerse yourself in a real Italian village. With lots of fun activities and excursions, it's life-changing.
I see. So, no more boring grammar, impersonal apps, just real conversations, real culture, and delicious food, of course.
Exactly. I'm so excited about this. Learn Italian by actually becoming part of the local community for a week and living it. So if you've been dreaming of Italy and the language, check out Footsteps Through Time in Italy.com. Book now and join the experience.
Andiamo!
Thanks to Greater Pittsburgh Travel. For any of your travel needs, let Tom and the team at Greater Pittsburgh Travel know, and they'll take care of you. For more information, call 412-331-2244 or visit their website at www.greaterpittsburghtravel.com. And we want to thank the Calabria Club of Pittsburgh. If you're interested in learning more, you can find their contact information on Facebook at Calabria Club of Pittsburgh. Again, thanks Domenica and the team at the Calabria Club of Pittsburgh for your support.
Hello, everyone. My name is Claudio Relsano, and I am the author of the book, Lead from the Heart Up, Not the Neck Up, How to Create a Positive Winning Culture on the Field and in the Office. My years as a head baseball coach and a general manager of a pro baseball scouting company, I know that my leadership experiences that I've included in this book will help you become a better leader. You can get the book at ClaudioRelsano.com. Speaking of ClaudioRelsano.com, you can listen to my show, The Claudio Relsano Show, where I've interviewed such legends as Mario Andretti, Dick Vermeil, Rocky Bleier, and many, many others. And I also have an entrepreneurial program there talking about my entrepreneurial experiences. So hopefully that will help you, and hopefully you will enjoy that. And also, Sports Corner, hosted by Ralph Williams, co-host with myself, Jim Frazier, and Luther Dupree Jr. We appear on 92.5 FM, 1250 AM, The Answer, Salem Radio, every Saturday here in Pittsburgh, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope you enjoy all the shows, and I hope you enjoy my book.
We'd also like to thank Chris Gonzalez from the Knights of Columbus. If you have any questions about joining the Knights of Columbus, reach out to Chris Gonzalez at 412-605-9074.
Okay, Jodi, you have some wonderful props that you would like to show us and tell us what they are. Explain what you're going to do.
Well, this is pretty funny, but one of the things I know, Steve asked me what some of the biggest changes were. And like I said, I can't pinpoint one, but I'm a speaker now. I do some public speaking, and these are some props that I take along with me just to show you how portion sizes have changed. This is my mom's Coca-Cola glass right here, and this is a Coca-Cola glass that you can buy today. So that's a pretty big difference. And this is my mom's pie pan. This is pie pan from a warehouse club today. Pretty interesting, right? And this is my mom's pizza pan. This is a pizza pan from today.
Wow.
This is actually the 2000s. I think I bought that in the 2000s, but quite a big. And you can see the cut marks on my mom's. I mean, she used it a lot. And this
So for the folks that are watching, what she's saying is they're really fattening us up.
But
This
Steve,
is
what
so
you
cool.
said, though, about they're putting something in there that's making it addictive, which is what? Taste.
Right.
More salt,
is,
more sugar.
Exactly.
This is my last prop, and it's so cool. My dad made this because my home was the party home where we entertained all the relatives. And this is just a cute little tray that you put the spoons, knives, and forks in, and then the paper plates. And these are paper plates from today.
Wow.
And they do not, I don't know if the camera's getting, yeah. They
Oh,
do.
yeah.
And that's not just one, they're all of them. These are today's paper plates. This one goes this way, but I don't think you get a bunch in there. These are all paper plates from today. I think this is the biggest one. So it's incredible how much, and that's a gradual change that we haven't noticed. And if you were born after 1990, you have no idea.
Not to
No
keep
idea.
bringing our guests up, but one of our guests, Ray Boom Boom Mancini, is a health nut, and he said something, you can pretty much eat anything. Moderation.
Mm-hmm.
Moderation. Yeah, maybe not everything, anything, but again, things in moderation.
I don't know. The problem is I don't know how. It's almost like the food corporations won't let you do that because they make it so addictive. Yeah. Perfect example is, you ever see how chicken McNuggets are made, or chicken nuggets are made? It is the most horrifying process. If you see it, you would say, why would anybody eat that? But when you eat a chicken nugget, they're so good.
I probably shouldn't ask.
I heard they have potatoes in them. I mean, that would be a good thing.
So-
I know they have a lot of other bad things. But
I saw a video for how they make nuggets, and it's everything from, like, they bleach the chickens to kill anything in them. They squash it, and then they add all these
Maybe we
chemicals
don't
on, like, a
like that.
press, and then it's just like it's like a stamp. Because if you think put it this way, if you think the chicken is in the shape of a dinosaur,
Right.
you got a problem.
What do you call it, a mold?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like a hot dog. It just becomes a paste at some point. You're just stamping out nuggets. But damn it, they're good.
I ask you something before I forget. The RFK pyramid, is that what it's called?
Yeah, the food pyramid.
What are your thoughts on all that? I don't know too much about it.
You know, I don't. Somebody else asked me that recently, and I have not seen it. But I do believe in the basic food pyramid, and I think that you should eat a lot of different things and have a lot of different things on your plate, which I know that's a thing with a lot of young people, is they're not eating the vegetables and stuff like that. They're all for the chicken McNuggets and the fried chicken and the, you know, and I think that greens are so important, and you know, your everything, dairy. I believe in the pyramid definitely, but I haven't seen RFKs. Is it a big difference?
Well, they flipped it. They flipped it because what happens is the whole adage, man cannot live on bread alone. Okay, the truth is you know what satisfies you longer is protein. Mm-hmm. But to your point before, you can't even trust, you know, the whole natural meat you're eating, because you know how much did they jack that thing up with. The truth is even when you're eating healthy food, you don't know if you're eating healthy food because either the animal was jabbed up with something or it's processed. But in theory, real protein is something that will keep you satisfied longer and will actually give you more energy in the long run, which case you won't be wanting to snack all day.
Right. So
they flipped it for things to take into account of that. Because to your point, eating anything in moderation is one thing. And there's, you know, again, there's been studies that say, well, you should have, instead of having a couple of big meals, you should have small things during the day. And then some people say, no, you know, like the Italians, a perfect example. They wake up, what do they have? A croissant and a coffee. They might have a small lunch and have a big dinner. That's it. But that's it. That's all they'll eat. So,
right.
You know, why are we eating nonstop? And even when we think we're eating healthy, it's not really healthy.
Now, Steve mentioned the Italians again. Now, in Italy,
I gotta love them.
They do eat differently, and I think they live a little bit longer over there, probably less stress as well.
It helps.
But what is it that they do differently over there? Let's just use Italy than we do here.
Well, I have not been there. That's on the bucket list. But I do know that, and Steve probably knows this too, the chemicals they use in the food in the United States are not in the foods in overseas countries in Europe. Yeah. So that coincides with the metabolic disruptors that could be adding to weight gain in America, because they don't use those over there. So they eat healthier. Maybe that's a big part of it. And they probably do a lot of cooking at home too.
You know, another thing,
not as much fast food.
Like ice cream tastes different there. The cow, the milk, because of what they feed the cow.
Right.
So yeah, I get, but why doesn't this country adopt that more?
Yeah, we have
because it works, right? There's a template.
Well, even when they're now trying to adopt similar standards from Europe, the problem now is everything has become politicized. Even the food pyramid is politicized.
No doubt.
It's insane. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think ultimately, to your point, I think it's going to come down to people are going to learn the hard way. The problem is when you think about health costs, you and I have to pay for that. So if somebody's buzzing around, you know, Aldi on a scooter because they just don't feel like walking, buying a bunch of chips and pops and all that crap, and then later on when they have diabetes or they're, you know, because they're overweight, they don't exercise, and they're going to have heart issues, who pays for that? We do. So, Jodi, let me ask you a question. I don't want to be too negative. So let's ask a positive question. Having done what you've done, this has obviously become a passion for you. What's next, though? I mean, is this something you're going to keep doing? Or are you going to go down other kind of, I don't want to say rabbit holes, but other areas of interest in the health in general?
Well, that's interesting. Right now I'm dabbling. I am starting public speaking. And I noticed that, you know, Claudia, I'm on mentorpark.com as a mentor. And I've noticed that a lot of people, without hearing my story, are what you said before. They're quick to judge. Like, you know, how do you know this? But it's a whole 180 if they hear me speak. After they hear me speak and they hear all the good tips that I have, and I go over many of the things that are in the book, it's a different story. after I speak, they're coming up to me and they want a business card and they want to talk to me and they want to make sure they can get my book and ask me if I have books on me. So once they hear my story, it's a whole different game. So I think I would like to continue in the speaking career to really try to help people. I mean, we're in a world of, over here in the U.S., it's bad right now. And the more people you have speaking up and helping, I see young people that are, overweight and struggling, and I talk to people all the time that have diabetes or they're diagnosed with, pre-diabetes or whatever. I would love to help them, and I think that promoting the book and trying to help them would be a passion of mine, yes. But this book was a lot of work.
Oh, sure.
A lot of work, especially with the medical part of it. So I want to dabble into a little fiction and romance.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's good.
But this will always be a passion and part of me, and I will always promote it. And I would gladly speak anywhere, if people wanted to uplift their employees or, groups that they have.
How about, you know what, though? How about speaking to parents?
Parents.
My mom was always, no, don't eat that. You can't eat that. Too much of this, too much of that. Although my dad, we used to eat something called salimota. You know what that is? We would make our 300 pounds of Italian sausage, and the thing.
Wait, I gotta unmute on that one. Let's step back for a minute.
Yeah.
300 pounds of Italian
We used to
sausage.
give a lot
I was
away.
literally scrambling for the mute on that one. I'm like,
Yeah.
300. Oh,
We didn't eat it all. We gave a lot away.
I don't know,
but there was
Claudio.
something called
Now that you're on
salimota,
camera.
which is fried fat with remnants of meat. Mm-hmm. Boy, was it good, especially with my mom's bread. And my dad, when he told the cardiologist, Dr. Lally said, "What the hell? No wonder why you're here." He said, "Doc, I got to give you some. You'll love it." Now, you would only get this much now. And Lally said, "It is good, but you can't eat this." But my mom used to give me like this much and a piece of bread the size of this table. But, you got to watch the sweets, you got to watch this. And I was always working with my dad in the landscape business. But don't you think it's a good idea maybe to target the parents to talk to the kids? At airplanes or airports sometimes you see these kids, no offense to anyone, but you'll see a kid who, has a few pounds on him. And what are the parents giving him? Candy, pop. You're just feeding the beast.
Whatever they want, that's what they give them, and that's the
but
sad
that's
part.
not good.
No, it's
and
not
you
good.
develop bad habits. But do you think that would be a good target?
Definitely parents. I have tried to get into some schools, and I've noticed the schools tend to be a little closed off.
Really?
It's hard to get into the schools. If anybody out there has a tip on how to get into the schools, I would love to go in.
Why do you think?
I think that they have, as you said, General Mills and these big companies that are, providing the food, and
We're not telling people not to eat. You're just telling them, be careful and what not to eat, I guess.
I see that it has changed. It used to be when my kids were little, it used to be the parents and the teachers that were bringing in treats for the kids and everything, and they've sort of, buckled down, and they don't let parents bring stuff in anymore. But the food trucks are now, and the big companies are now, and it's like the parents really can't see what's going on. And they say that everything's healthy, but I mean...
I have to ask a question. Steve, we're about the same age. I'm 61. I don't remember any kid, from my years of elementary, middle school, high school, junior high school, having peanut allergies. Now,
you're getting Steve
stay
on
away.
the roll.
Don't come close to me because of peanuts. Where did that come from? Did you know people with peanut allergies?
Never heard of it. Never heard of it like the last 20 years.
I just
In
heard
fact, some of the
poison
things that
ivy.
people-
That's the only thing everybody was allergic to.
Some of the things
but
people
not food.
are allergic to,
Right.
I'm like,
Well, why did that happen? How did it happen?
Well, that's veering off on a different angle that I don't know. My suspicion is a lot. I think that when you eat cleaner, when you take your kitchen from a warehouse club kitchen to like a Liz Claiborne kitchen and make it like really good quality foods, you're going to eliminate some allergies, in my opinion, because that's what I saw with my daughter. When I cleaned house and started buying better quality food, I saw her allergies improve. So could it be those 10,000 chemicals? They haven't studied them a lot, not nearly enough. They don't have the capacity and the time to study all of those 10,000 chemicals. So are they agitating allergies? That's a good question.
I would argue it is all about the money. They don't want to touch these things. You know, you said food trucks in school. I'm thinking, food truck in school? What the hell?
Yeah.
When did this, this is insane.
Parked outside
It's
the gym
all about
door.
the money. It is all about nickeling and diming and taking as much money off of these kids as they possibly can. Same universities, it just doesn't matter. They just want to take as much money as they possibly can.
When Steve said that, the first thing that hit me was when Rune Arledge was being interviewed by Tony Kornheiser years ago on a sports show. And Kornheiser was asking him all these questions, asking him, why did you start Monday Night Football? Why at 9 p.m.? Why Joe Namath the first guy? Why this, why that? He said, I'm not trying to be short with you, Tony, but the answer to every single one of your questions is money. And that's basically what it is. But now, have you had any, what have been the reviews, the people telling you, not so much about, how you did it, the style, but have there been some people fighting back or something like that along those lines? Doctors,
Oh, no, I actually have an endorsement from an endocrinologist that's in the beginning of the book.
Good.
She really, liked the book and she read it and liked it. I actually, the first time I gave a speech to like a large group, like 75 people, I was only 5 minutes in and I got a round of applause.
Good.
And that made me happy. So, you're always going to have critics.
No, that's for sure.
You have reviews. But if you get my book and you don't get anything positive out of it, there's something wrong. There's some great tips in there. 2 of my preliminary editors lost 50 pounds editing my book. And a friend of mine, I gave him the coffee tip, like he cut back, and he lost 20 pounds just from my coffee tip.
Funny you say that, because when I did notice immediately when I cut my creamers down. I'm telling you, I noticed just cutting a few creamers out I lost pounds off of that.
For me,
Yeah.
it was just looking at my bills.
That'll do it.
My daughter's college bill. I said, okay, I don't feel like eating now. But,
Yeah, I understand that.
All right, Jodi, let's do some shameless self-promotion. So where can they learn about you and what's next?
Okay, so my book is definitely on Amazon.
Hold it up. There you go.
Amazon.com. It's called Know the Enemy, Preventing Weight Gain, Diabetes, and Disease. If you would like, you can, if you just Google Jodi Velazquez, or New York Post Jodi Velazquez, there's a really cool article that talks a lot about my book. You'll see it was in the May 26, 2025 edition of the New York Post. They gave me a great review. I am a mentor on Mentor Park, where you can, if you don't like reading books, you can, buy some sessions and chat with me, and I'll help you.
and you got to mention the new, Times Square.
Oh, yes. And this book cover and my picture were just on January 9th, were on the iconic I Love New York billboard in Times
that's
Square.
something? Yeah.
That was, my publisher entered me in the Four Seasons Book Awards, and I should say my publisher is Atlas Elite Publishing Partners. Michael and Dar, they met me there. It was amazing. They met me there, and my picture in the book were on the Times Square billboard. We took pictures.
That's great. And JodiVelasquez.com. Don't forget about that.
JodiVelasquez.com. If you don't know how to spell it, my last name is the same as the painter, Diego Velazquez. We have 2 Z's, no S's. So all of that. And then my YouTube channel is just my name, Jodi Velazquez, and you can learn how to make ravioli and manicotti, and we had a crepe party. So lots of good, authentic Italian cooking on there you can learn. And you can we even slid in pierogies, which is a great food for when you're strapped for money. Spend a Sunday, make like 5-6 dozen, put them in the freezer, and then you have homemade cooked pierogies or ravioli for dinners.
All right. Jodi, you know what? You're the best. I love you to death. Yeah, and this is a great book because, again, you didn't write it with your fingers. You wrote it with your heart.
Yeah.
And you have great experience, obviously. Your daughter's doing great. And I commend you for that. And I urge everybody to go out and get it because it'll definitely help you and follow what she says. She knows what she's talking about. And I wish you all the best with the book and in life. You deserve it. You're the best. And I appreciate you.
And I have to mention that my website art is from my daughter, Lana.
Yeah.
The book is about Marlo, and the website design. She's my designer, Lana. Yeah, I got 2 daughters.
Yep. And don't forget about your husband. You got to mention him too.
Yeah, he
Good
drove
man.
me because the weather's so bad.
All right. Surprised he didn't fly you here.
We're not going to flip the camera for the folks that are wondering what her husband looks like. Just nothing personal.
All right. Well, Jodi, thanks again for being on.
Thanks for having me, you guys. I always have so much fun chatting with you.
Most
So
welcome.
thank you so much.
Steve?
Claudio, two things. One, this camera board is driving me
do it
crazy.
all. You're
It's
doing a hell
driving
of a
me
job.
crazy.
I couldn't do it.
And two, I do want to mention one thing before we go. So we're getting ready to hopefully, God willing, release the new documentary, Innocenti, The Innocent Ones. And we've already got entered and accepted into our first film festival, and it's not even out. It's going to be the Los Angeles, Italia. So it's a film and art festival in Los Angeles. Very excited about that. Trailers out there on YouTube. You can go out to StephenManciniProductions.com. You can watch the trailer for the upcoming documentary. You can watch Fedelta, the trailer for that, or go watch it on Amazon. In addition, you can watch all of our podcasts, Talking Business and Life / the Italian Impact Weekly, and my other one that I do with a friend of mine, Chris Gonzalez, The Unlikely Catholic. And as always, you can go out to ClaudioRilasono.com. I almost did it. Claudio Rilasono. It's a tongue twister for me. ClaudioRilasono.com, and check out Claudio's podcast. He's had a lot of wonderful guests. I'm trying to get him to steal them and sneak them over here. But please, we enjoy the fact that you're tuning in. Apologize if you have to look at my face. But hey, we said video was coming this year, and video is here. So Claudio, as always, I give you the last word.
All right. Well, again, I'm going to be a part of Mentor Park. That'll be official here soon. We'll give you more information on that. Jodi set that up for me, which I appreciate. She does a lot of things for me. My book, all that kind of stuff. But as always, we appreciate all of you tuning in, and thank you, Mom and Pop.
Thank you for listening to Talking Business and Life with Claudio Relsano and Steve Mancini. Tune in next week for more impactful business and life experiences with Claudio and Steve.